A man who retains his semen develops a stronger hunger for life. The idea has long existed that it is those who are most curious and interested in life that live the longest. With this concept comes the notion that those who lose interest and essentially give up on life are preparing for their own demise and early departure from this world. The mistake I believe most people make when hearing this is thinking that it is just their state of mind that needs changing, rather than the state of their physiology. Your ability to think has much to do with the physical state of your organism. When a body is depleted in energy and nutrition, it is said that the sex instinct usually dissipates. The mood becomes depressed, and the disposition becomes more passive and docile. Nikola Tesla discussed this in an interview, expressing that the inventor who requires long periods of deep thought and reflection is not suited to the conjugal relations of marriage, as it dissipates mind power. He reflects on his own celibacy and why he chose the solitary life in order to dedicate himself to science. Though he reportedly only slept 2 to 3 hours a night, he lived a long life, far beyond the average man of his era, passing away at the age of 86. I believe that the chaste or celibate life gives rise to these feelings of curiosity and wonder one has about life, simply due to the fact that the brain is not burdened with replenishing sexual stores and is thus free to explore the various realms of thought that man is inclined to think. As a result, the man's curiosity keeps the spark of youth alive inside of him, even when his organism advances into old age. Semen retention inspires intellectual advancement. I am sure you have seen this vital energy in some older people before. In spite of their years, they still retain that youthful glint in their eyes and a feeling of enthusiasm for life. Their body may be old, but their energy is still young. In my experience, the people I have met with this kind of vitality were also the most pure and free from vice. One of the key compounds in semen is the same element the brain relies on to facilitate thought: phosphorus. The English physiologist Dr. Evans believed that thought required an oxidation of phosphorus compounds in the brain in order to generate nerve electricity. He proposed that this oxidation process, which is central to cognitive function, highlights the critical role phosphorus has in powering mental activity. Without sufficient phosphorus, the brain's electrical currents would weaken, leading to a decline in thought processes and mental performance. Given that semen is rich in phosphorus, it does suggest a potential antagonism between the brain and semen. Excessive expenditure of this phosphorus would require excessive replenishment, and this could help explain why sexual indulgence has long been thought to negatively impact intellectual function and diminish one's overall spark and energy for life. Written over 100 years before. We are told by some writers on this important subject that the genital secretion, or the semen, may be called the essential oil of animal liquors, the rectified spirit, the most subtle and spirituous part of the animal frame, which contributes to the support of the nerves, that the greatest part of this refined fluid is, in a healthy state and conduct of the system, resorbed and mixed with the blood, of which it constitutes the most rarefied and volatile part, and imparts to the body peculiar sprightliness, vivacity, muscular strength, and general vigor and energy to the animal machine. That it causes the beard, hair, and nails to grow, gives depth of tone and masculine scope and power to the voice, and manliness and dignity to the countenance and person, and energy and ardour and noble daring to the mind, and therefore that the emission of semen enfeebles the body more than the loss of 20 times the same quantity of blood, and hence the frequent and excessive loss of it cannot fail to produce the most extreme debility and disorder and wretchedness of both body and mind. If you are feeling drained from life, please consider that it may not be life itself that is draining you, it may be your way of living. All the vices drain energy from the body, and perhaps the most draining vice of all is sexual indulgence. The world was a very mysterious and interesting place as a kid, but when puberty commenced and the activation of the reproductive system, thoughts shifted to those of women, perhaps thoughts of lust, and the world around us somewhat changed. So to get back to this state of curiosity and wonder, we must disengage ourselves from the constant depletion and replenishment of our sexual system, and preserve these energies for procreation only. As a rule, unmarried men who preserve themselves pure possess a keenness or edge of perception, which they lose after marriage. The chaste man possesses a brightness of the eyes, a smoothness of the skin, a firmness of muscle, a magnetism of personality, and a clearness of thought that is in exact opposition to the phenomena attending onanism, and to a lesser degree the normal exercise of the sexual function. Therefore, it may be expected that the man who controls all loss of the gone or seminal fluid will heighten the tides of his vitality to the very maximum of which his organism is capable, up to the very limit of his possibilities. He attains this height not necessarily by increasing the quality and quantity of his food, since his organism is not able to assimilate more than a certain amount under normal conditions, but by preventing all catabolic crises, of which the most common and the most serious are the emission of the semen. It is our hunger for life that makes us productive, gives us purpose, and above all, makes life worth living. This hunger sharply dissipates after the orgasm, after the loss of our seminal secretions. Refrain from releasing these substances, and you keep the substance of creation inside of you. Thus you remain hungry and full of life.